Hello everyone, welcome to the Mio on MMA podcast reviewing UFC 322 from Madison Square Garden. I don't know really what to say about this card overall. It looked good on paper, and I think everything that the fights promised was delivered. It's just, come the end of the night, we had just watched two very dominant championship performances that felt very similar to each other and didn't really have any ebbs and flows. And I do honestly think that the combination of that kind of was a letdown, because it's not that either fight would be bad. Like, I enjoy the occasional domination fight. It's just kind of the back-to-back nature of watching Valentina do it and then watching Islam do it was a little bit disappointing. That Jack Della Maddalena and Weilli Zhang really could not solve anything. Like, JDM had not a single moment of that fight that I thought he had a solution for Islam. And being exceptionally generous, there were maybe 2 points where I thought Weilli Zhang was onto something. And the combination of those two really kind of hurt the card overall. But there were some really, really good fights on here that I'm going to go back and rewatch probably a number of times in the future. I'm looking at Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov, Bo Nickel versus Adolfo Vieira, Michael Morales versus Sean Brady, Carlos Pratis versus Leon Edwards. Probably not Benoit Saint-Denis versus Benaud Dariush just because of the 16-second knockout. I don't really think it. I guess what I would say is that, like, sub 30-second knockouts that I actually go back and rewatch over time, they have to be something a bit more than just bonk. They have to be something really interesting, like the double Superman punch between Houston Alexander and James Irvin or something. Like, it just isn't there. Aaron Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez was a fun time. Ethan Ewing versus Malcolm Wellmaker was a dope fight. Insane. Very, very good. Sabatini versus Chepe Mariscal was a horrible booking. Promotional malpractice, but it was fun. I enjoyed the scrambles. And so was Bison Gore Sursakayev versus Eric Bakonico. That was also pretty good as well. I enjoyed that, although there will be some negative thoughts off of that fight for me personally, just because the reaction to it, I think, is, for lack of a better term, wrong. And otherwise, like, the main event, the co-main event weren't very good, and neither was Camillo versus Borshow, but that's about it. Everything else had, like, a reasonably large amount of appeal, so all things considered, things went pretty well. I'm going to talk about the main event and the co-main event kind of like together, because they basically had the same exact vibe to them. Jack Della Maddalena had an issue preventing Islam Makachev from closing the distance and taking him down. He also had an issue with getting low kicked. His leg got very badly compromised during the course of the fight. Maybe there was an injury beforehand. Who knows? In a perfect world, I wouldn't even think of that, because it'd be like, the UFC making a guy defend his title on one bad wheel? That's unthinkable. That's horrible. And then I realized that just a little while ago, we had Alex Pereira literally defend while being significantly ill. And then after that, Magomed Ankalaev defend the belt with broken ribs. So, like, obviously, 100% on the table. I'm not saying that JDM was injured. I haven't heard anything like talking about that. I'm just saying he got compromised very quickly. And that's kind of about it. He is heavy on the front leg, so it could definitely happen. He's vulnerable to this. This has been something I've said a number of times. But at the end of the day, I think it was a bit quick. I don't have much else to say about the fight, honestly. Makachev went out there and he had 3 minutes and 52 seconds top control, 4 minutes and 5 seconds top control, 3 minutes and 6 seconds top control, 3 minutes 24, 4:43. He threatened submissions. He did a decent amount of ground and pound. And like I said, I probably would like this fight a lot more if it just didn't come after what we saw between Shevchenko and Weilli Zhang. And also Makachev's team winning a fight in the stands against Dylan Dennis. That's fun. That's cool. Hate Dylan Dennis. There you go. And then with Shevchenko versus Zhang, it's just Zhang had no way into the fight really at any point. There were like maybe 2 moments, I think it was in the second and the third round, where there was a brief spark of hope that Weilli Zhang could in fact out-weaponize Valentina at mid-range and do things, but nah. Largely it was her crashing into the clinch, getting hit by spinning back fists, elbows, spinning back kick, I think at one point was in there, knee strikes, and just getting out wrestled. Like she would hit into Weilli Zhang, or into Valentina. She got taken down in all 5 rounds. Top control numbers of 230, 409, 143, 116, 346. And Valentina was just willing to like just kind of lock her down and damn being exciting. I'm just going to win this fight. And you know what? I appreciate that. I've always said I appreciate how fun-sucking she can be. But I just also at the same time can't figure out why there's like people who think she's the most exciting fighter in the world. It's just the weird dichotomy of like fan reaction to Valentina Shevchenko is just so weird. I will say the commentary I think was like way off base in both of these fights, because obviously the topic of is Islam and Weilli Zhang large enough to compete at these weight classes were obviously on topic, because they were both coming up a weight class to challenge for the belt. And the commentary team of DC and Rogan, which I hate to begin with, I think raised 2 unsupported conclusions in both cases. With Makachev, they said, well, obviously he can, because he won. But I think they just ignored that, like, one, JDM is not a particularly large welterweight. Like, if you look at JDM and then you look at 2 guys who fought, or 3 guys even, 4 guys, honestly, who fought earlier on the card, Sean Brady, Michael Morales, Carlos Prates, and Leon Edwards, they look like they're in a different weight class to him. Like, that's just it. He's not big to begin with, and he doesn't have a style that weaponizes the size, even if he was. And with Weilli, they said, well, okay, she's just not big enough. And it's like, no, she just can't beat Valentina. Like, you put Weilli Zhang against basically anyone at 125, say, maybe Manon Fiorot, maybe Erin Blanchfield, and her style probably just works like fine. Like, she would beat Tracy Cortez. She would beat Caitlin Sermonara, or she would beat Macy Barber or anything like that. Like, it's not a size thing. This was Valentina's raw, freakish physicality just shutting her down and denying her any aspect of what she is used to having as a successful route to victory. So, yeah, I don't think either of those were like correct statements in a nutshell. They're not unsupportable, I suppose, but they're not correct. Before that, Michael Morales continued to do Michael Morales things. I want to say nice things about Morales, that he's not just, he's a physical freak. So here we go. He has a great feel for range. He denied Sean Brady the shot range to actually be able to wrestle him. And he has a good jab sometimes. But my God, you watch the the slow-mo of him knocking Brady out. It's like, this is so bad. It's just, you are a once-in-a-lifetime physical talent, or at least a once-in-a-divisional physical talent. It reminds me a bit of Yuri Prohaska and DDP. And to be clear, I didn't come up with this. This was from viewer Timmy B. Timmy, thank you. Shout out. There you go. Give him the love. And his thing was like, he's just the type of guy that doesn't have to do anything right whatsoever, and it still works. And yeah, it's not far off. It's not far off. He might legitimately end up being a champion in this division while being like objectively bad. The only concern I would have, obviously, for Morales is that the way he fights is so inefficient that he could, in a 5-rounder, I would just see him gassing out at some point. So he denied Sean Brady the intros. He made him strike with him. Brady cannot strike well. He knocked him out. Boom. Moving on to Carlos Prates versus Leon Edwards. Edwards, 4 round, did what I don't want to say we wanted him to do, because if you wanted Prates to win, I guess you didn't want that. But what I hoped for anyways, which is, there is an obvious way to win this fight. Please show me that you have at least baseline aggression to go take it. And he did. And maybe Prates' trash talk got to him. I don't know. And in round 2, he decided to like just fight Prates' fight and got melted. And I don't really have much else to say. Like, I still don't think Prates wins at a high-end level, because he doesn't have a round-winning game. He really is reliant on the hot shot knockout. And he is a bad, not necessarily a bad grappler. He's a bad wrestler. And I just feel like everyone at the top of the division will exploit that. It's just Leon Edwards is Mr. I cannot trust. And then on top of that, you have guys like, he beat Jeff Neal, who, Jeff Neal is, Jeff Neal's never met a game plan that isn't brawl in a nutshell. So there are people he can beat. It's just, I like a fight between him and Jack Della Maddalena. That would be all kinds of fun. It's just, there are several people at the top of this division that I think just, they wrestle F him. And that's just all there is to it. And like I said, Benoit Saint-Denis just with the crushing knockout of Beneil Dariush. Not really anything else to say about that one. It's a 16-second knockout. It is what it is. It doesn't really mean anything because Dariush has had this happen before. He had this happen with Alex Hernandez back in the day, actually. Or it was actually no. It wasn't Hernandez. It was worse actually. It was Ramsey Nijm, and it was Hernandez. I forgot that. Yeah, Nijm basically took him apart. Hernandez knocked him out in 42 seconds. Edson Barboza hit him with a flying knee. I can't hate on that. But we even saw this when Charles Oliveira put him away, and Arman Tsarukyan. So it doesn't really mean anything. But on paper, Benoit Saint-Denis now has a big win over Beneil Dariush. It's the biggest win of his career on paper because previous to this, his biggest win was Thiago Moises? Maybe I guess Mauricio Hufi just because of the hype. But it doesn't really mean a lot going forward. It doesn't change my impressions, but it is a big win. It is a big thing, and it will undoubtedly pole vault him into a big fight again. Bo Nickel versus Adolfo Vieira. This one was a bit weird because there are two schools of thought coming out of this. One is Bo Nickel just beat Adolfo Vieira, who is not, I don't want to say is not good, but is like he folds amazingly quickly when things go wrong, when there's pushback, when there's counter wrestling. And we've seen this in his fight with Andre Petroski. We've seen this in his fight with Fluffy Hernandez. We saw this in his fight with I'm blanking. There's a third example of this that I'm missing. Chris Curtis too. Chris Curtis wasn't that, but we've seen this before. We saw this with Andre Petroski. And then there's a camp, and I'm in that camp. And then there's a camp where it's like Bo Nickel has solved all the problems and is on his way, and he's become so much better. And I'm like, no. Better, yes. This was a better striking effort than he had against Paul Craig. And he was willing to grapple and wrestle with Adolfo Vieira, and that's a great sign, on his own terms instead of the RDR fight. But I don't know. I'm just saying, pump the brakes. I need to see him beat somebody who isn't beaten off of like the first exchange, honestly. And Vieira is an incredibly disappointing fighter in that regard because Vieira has the physical tools, the grappling chops, and so on to be like a very, 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 very good fighter. And he'll still win fights because he does have that overwhelming potential. But like, he also has the ability to have like a not convincing fight with Tresean Gore. Like it's just not quite there. So anyways, good win for Bo. The head kick knockout in the third round is cool. I give the performance in cage an A. The PR, not so great because you continuously just make yourself to be the villain. And I would say one thing if I thought it was intentional. I just don't think it is. This is the classic Colby Covington trying to craft a face character, to use a pro wrestling terminology, and coming out with a heel on the other end. So there's that. Anyways, rolling on down, continuing on down. Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Kopylov. I said that Rodriguez would win if he could get the front foot and not get knocked out by Kopylov, and he did. He was advancing for the most part. He was landing more volume. I want to say in all three rounds. Let's see, 20-11, 39-23. Yep, 33-20. So outlanded Kopylov in all three rounds. Outlanded him in significant strikes in all three rounds. Wasn't able to really weaponize the grappling at all. He actually went 0 for 4 on takedowns and got taken down like on the counter twice by Kopylov with authority. But Kopylov obviously could not do anything with that position at all. He immediately ended up in trouble both times. This is a fight that, like, it was a fun fight. It was an entertaining fight. Go watch it. But at the same time, if you're looking for transformation for either fighter, it's distinctly lacking. Kopylov is still a guy that if he's on the back foot is kind of borderline useless. And Rodriguez is the same, but Rodriguez is a psychopath golem that will keep the pressure on you, even at the risk of getting hit really goddamn hard. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that either fighter has fixed any like problems or whatever. It's just, this is how this matchup goes. And it's fun. Moving on down. Moving on down to the next fight. Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. This is another one where I thought the commentary was just off. Like, the commentary was acting like Tracy Cortez was lighting her up and putting on this boxing clinic and like doing all the good things. And don't get me wrong, I thought early in this fight she had the striking edge and she's a little bit more polished and she's a little bit more refined. But I was like, are you guys not realizing that Blanchfield is like slowly punching her way into this fight and this is getting competitive, and by the end of the round, Blanchfield is just winning? Anyways, round 2, Blanchfield hits a really actually good takedown, really good power, really good leg drive, and eventually gets around to the back of Cortez and with no hooks, picks up the rear naked choke victory here. So, good win for Blanchfield. Do I think she has, like, beating Valentina possibility? No. Valentina mentioned her at her post-fight along with Natalia Silva as possible next title shots. And that would make sense. Silva, though, is by far the more interesting option. Blanchfield, I think, actually just honestly will run into more or less the same problem Weilli Zhang ran into. Just being physically shut out by Valentina. That's my honest opinion, but I do really like her. I do really hope that she can continue to develop. And she's still fairly young, right? She's like 26, I want to say. I have her name written down here. You would think I would just check the notes. Yeah, 26. So there's time for her to continue to run. She's getting better. Tracy Cortez is frustrating because outside of that Jasmine Jasudavicius fight where I actually thought she was like improving, she just isn't at all. And she's training with people that she should be improving with. She's in the right place. She's at a good gym. She has the physical talents. She has the UFC at her back. And I can't help but think that she's just kind of blowing it in a nutshell. So, there do be that. Anyways, before that, Ethan Ewing versus Malcolm Wellmaker, and Ethan Ewing put on a show here. He wasn't a massive underdog, so I didn't actually put any money on him. He came in 48 hours short notice, and I think they landed him at like plus 400 or something, and I was like, yeah, I'm not betting on that. But he did a lot of what I thought Cody Haddon was going to do, which is kind of exploit the fact that Wellmaker just is not a very good, complete fighter. Don't get me wrong, Wellmaker knocks people out, and it's very cool, and he's got size, he's got power, he's got speed, he's got good feel for counters. Like, there is a lot to work with there. It's just there is also a lot of exploitable gaps, and Ewing kept the pressure on him, kept the work rate higher, and despite eating a lot of like really good body shots, he outlasted Wellmaker and picks up the win here. Couldn't really get the wrestling going necessarily. Did record 3 takedowns, but very little success with them. I think the most top position time they credited him with was 46 seconds. So, yeah, clearly Wellmaker does actually have the ability to get up and scramble a little bit, which that's good. That's possible, positive. But I don't know. I just feel like Wellmaker's got to go to another gym. Maybe like Killcliff. Killcliff, I think, would be an excellent home for him. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like he maybe got here a little too late because he's 31 years old, and I think he almost needs to rebuild everything in his game before it really takes the next step. Gerald Meerschaert got murked by Kyle Daukaus, and the commentary was shocked that Kyle Daukaus went for a Darce choke. His nickname is the Darce Knight. What is wrong with you? Pat Sabatini outscrambled Chepe Mariscal, got the victory here. Some people wanted to score this fight for Mariscal. I don't think there was enough damage to justify that at all. Don't get me wrong, Sabatini is the type of guy who would lose a Jailton Almeida style decision where he has like a lot of top control but doesn't do anything with it. If all I needed for Mariscal was like one big damaging flurry per round, and I probably would have been tempted to give it to him. But yeah, Sabatini was able to get him down because Mariscal doesn't really deny the clinch. He loves to work in the clinch. And Sabatini was able to pull him down and out-grapple him and control him and lock him down. And he got the win. So hats off to Pat Sabatini. You've avenged a loss you had to Chepe Mariscal, but like at the same time, I still think that this booking was pointless because it's not like it does anything for Sabatini to get the win in terms of the promotion, because he's still a 35-year-old, very much lockdown control grappler, which is fun. There's scrambles there. I had fun time with this fight, but he's not going anywhere. And it would have been more useful to give that to that Chepe Mariscal scalp to somebody else. Fatima Klein just overwhelmed Angela Hill. I have no idea what round Angela would have won. I mean, I guess it's the second round, but yeah, Klein was able to out-wrestle her, put her down, control her on the ground, lock her down, and outstrike her as well. She outworked her. And yeah, I guess this is the Angela Hill problem is if you get outlanded and you're Angela Hill, you lost. That's just all there is to it. You got outlanded 152-65 over the course of the fight. And the closest round, like I said, the second round was 42-32. So, yeah. I don't want to say it's time for her to retire because I don't feel like this is not like the Meerschaert moment. Like Meerschaert, I think should retire. I think he is done. Whereas with Hill, it's like this is just a problem she had, honestly, as far back as the Ultimate Fighter. She doesn't have fight-stopping ability, so she has to outwork somebody. And as volume has become more and more and more of a standard meta, even for athletic fighters like Klein, there's just less ways for her to win, is all it comes down to. So that's really kind of all I have to say about that. And earlier on, Surzakayev defeated Makhachev by knockout in the third round. This was a weird groin shot fight. Like Surzakayev gets going in the second round, gets groin shotted, and then in the third round, he groin shots Makhachev, gets a break where he gets to sit down and like relax while Makhachev's recovering from a groin shot, and then knocks him out. Listen. I've been labeled a Surzakayev hater by a couple of people. Fair enough. I think he has all the talent in the world. He has the physical frame, the athleticism, the raw violence to be incredibly good. He can wrestle, he can strike, he can grapple. I just think that realistically, the dude has had 2 UFC fights against pretty bottom of the barrel guys. Eric Nolan, who is a welterweight for one thing, and also a welterweight that I honestly don't expect to be around very long. And Makhachev, who is a very good athlete, hard hitter, but like is fundamentally not really a violent fighter, and also a bit fragile because we saw him get knocked out by Ruzi Boev as well, and he does the same thing, and he gets knocked out here, and then like he had that really ugly fight with Cody Brundrich that he won on 26 significant strikes, so that's a little bit low output when he has his way. So I just don't think that Surzakayev is that guy right now. He's 24 years old. There is time. But did we learn nothing from Edmund Shabazian? I'm just saying. Anyways, the card opened with a really ugly fight between Vyacheslav Borshow and Matias Camilo. I thought Borshow won. I scored all 3 rounds for him, honestly. Damage is king, and I thought he had more damage in all 3 rounds. I have no problem with the first and the second going to Camillo. He got takedowns. He got top control. And the numbers were close. He didn't really get much done on the ground in the first round, but he at least outlanded Borshow 17-11. And the second round, he got outlanded 26-14, but he did have 2 minutes of top control. He did do some things. He did threaten some submissions. So I can live with it. But the third round, which 2 judges gave him, he got outlanded 41-17 and had 13 seconds of control time. You don't win that round unless you almost kill the guy, and he didn't. People were like, oh, he landed the better shots. I'm like, I don't even think he did. I don't think he did, and he got outlanded 3-1. Come on, you crazy. Anyway, so that was a bad decision. Still, it was a fight that I don't think Borshow deserved to win. He displayed a complete lack of any idea of how to defend takedowns. He failed. He failed. It's just that I also think that Camillo also failed. I think both of these guys lost. That's what it comes down to it. I wonder if Borshow will finally get cut at this point. He's lost 3 in a row in 5 of his last 6. Pardon me, 4 of his last 6 with a draw in there as well. So 1-4-1. And overall in the UFC, he is now 4-6-1. And that's giving him the Chris Duncan win on the Ultimate Fight or on Contender Series. By the way, it's not a good sign when your best win is still the Contender Series fight against Chris Duncan. That's not good. Camillo will get another chance because he's now 1-1 and he has a win. So it is what it is. But I don't think he's going to be long for this division either. That's just my takeaway from it. I hate to end that on a negative note, but as opening fights go, that was pretty negative because it was from a guy who's in his 11th fight in the UFC and just does not belong here, and to be clear, has not found the right place at alpha male to like really actually become better. And then Camillo is a guy that I don't hate his signing, I just don't see him going anywhere. There's just too he's a bully who's just not that bully suited at the UFC level. Anyways, that was the card. Hope you enjoyed. And I am off to shave Sonia's head. So that's going to be a fun time. Have a good time. Check out the links down below for video gaming stuff, social media, and of course the Discord server with the Fight Simulator, all the cool people that listen to me, and the Fight Masters League, which congratulations to RC for winning UFC 322, taking home the W. Almost lost another one to the best fight odds, though, picks. So anyways, have a good one. Enjoy. See you next time.